Hi, everyone. This is Pam Torrey from Ingage, and you're listening to the Ingaged podcast. We know tech is changing the way people market and sell now more than ever. And on this show, I sit down with sales and marketing thought leaders and experts to learn how you can create, share, and measure your way to success. Today, we're chatting with Rachel MacLeod, Director of Franchise Solutions at Status Solutions, the pioneering provider of enterprise situational awareness for risk management. Thanks for joining us today, Rachel.
Thank you, Pam. I'm excited to be here.
Awesome. Well, to kick us off, can you share a little bit more about who Status Solutions is and your role at Status Solutions?
Yeah, so Status Solutions, really what we do is we help businesses protect what matters most. So over the last 23 years, we were founded in 2001. We really made it our mission to evolve with changes that impact the safety of all different types of people. So students, residents, customers, employees, as well as property and business assets. So we protect people and stuff. And we've really learned how to adapt to what's happening in the world. But more importantly, we make it our priority to stay nimble enough to custom build a safety solution that works for any business. So we've really built a reputation for being a pioneer and now really a master of situational awareness services. So this can include things like life safety assurance, real-time security monitoring, and data analysis, and environmental monitoring, mass notification as well. So we carefully craft custom software solutions that give our customers awareness of what's going on. So we empower them to take action, and then we provide them analysis that helps them adapt and stay ahead of threats. And we talk about it from the mundane to the extreme. So it's not always extreme situations. It can be something that's just an everyday thing that we can help with. And then I personally work on the sales side for Status Solutions.
Great. So you guys have had a really interesting impact on how organizations approach safety and security, and you have a very unique perspective coming from this, longevity in this space, and then now creating these more custom solutions. Can you share, one or two of your favorite success stories, just to give us some more context?
Yeah. So one of my favorites is probably what we've done with Mall of America. I like it because everyone's heard of it, and it's a little bit more recent.
We have. I love, just as a fun fact, a lot of the conferences that we go to in the upper Midwest do end up being around the Mall of America, which is always it's really funny for our team. They're like, I'm going to go ride a roller coaster in the middle of the day.
I know. I feel like the roller coaster always gets mentioned when you hear
It gets you. It gets you with
the one with the roller coaster. Yeah. But yeah, so with the Mall of America, we started working with them a few years ago, and we really were helping them with the safety side of things. So intruder, some type of threat, they were wanting to kind of integrate all of their systems, make things smarter, make everything talk to each other. And so they came to us, and what we do really is ask a lot of questions and do a lot of discovery with our customers. So they're like, hey, this is how we want it to work. Can you do this? Can you integrate with these things? And our team was like, yep, we can do this. And we really built it out to be exactly how they wanted it to work. And they tested it, and they did, twice a month, I think they would do testing on, if an event happens, here's how it's going to work. But then they had a real event take place. So they ended up coming back. They're like, look, everything worked exactly the way it was supposed to work. However, we wanted to work way differently because it's very different when you practice, but then the real event happens, and they learned a lot about what they wanted to do. So they came back to us and they said, hey, we want to change this and this and this. And so they sat down with our team, and they love us because we very, very rarely say no. So they're like, can you do this? Can we do this? Can we integrate all of these screens? Can we change the way this is, sent? This information is sent. And our team is like, yep, we got it. So we ended up changing it based on, what happened when the real life scenario took place so that it can work even better in the future. And so it's really about a partnership. And that's what, why Mall of America liked working with us, is because that's what we provide. We're not like, hey, we have this thing, here's how you use it, go use it. We had to work with multiple vendors. We had to, that they were working with so that we can integrate into their different systems. They had thousands of screens on campus. So just to kind of give you an example, one of the things they realized was that people in the parking lots didn't have any idea of what was going on inside of the mall. So when an event took place, they had people just walking into the mall because they didn't know there was an emergency yet. So they have these large screens in their parking lots that we then took over that would let them know, do not enter the mall. There's an event going on. It's an emergency. Go home. So that's just one example of many different ways that we're working with the Mall of America. But that's just a good example of kind of how we customize our solutions for our customers.
Yeah, I could definitely see that needing to be incredibly custom. I feel like there is no place quite like Mall of America when you're looking at like their footprint, their very specific needs, the kind of different people that they end up having come in and out, all the different roles they have to cover. I feel like it's a big task.
Oh yeah, absolutely. And they're constantly thinking about it, and they have to, make changes all the time as the mall changes. Even in the middle of COVID, they had to shut down for, 3 or 4 months. I think it was that they were completely shut down. And so they came to us then and they were like, hey, instead of some of the information we're getting out now, can we instead put out on like our PA different messages that go out about social distancing and wearing your mask and just reminders like that. So we help them do that sort of thing too. So, it's ever evolving with them, and they love that we are able to adapt and change and integrate into new things that they need for their safety solutions. So we love them as a partner. They've been great.
Well, I would like to take a hard left turn and talk about your recently launched franchise program called Status Solutions Network. I understand that its sole purpose is to provide funding to schools. Now, this feels like something very different, and I would love if you could explain what drove Status Solutions to start this program and how it works.
Yeah, so I'm glad you asked. This is what I spend all my time doing now. But when the reason that this company got started, Mike, our CEO and founder, said that Columbine is what got him thinking. So we started in 2001. Columbine, the events of Columbine, happened in 1999. And what he realized was that the information that, there was a shooter on campus, all of that payload of information was getting sent to the 911 center. But nobody in the school had any idea what was going on. So that's when he realized, the first responders, the true first responders, are not the 911 call center. It's got to be the people, the teachers, the students, the staff within that school. They need to know what's going on, if not even before, 911. So that's what kind of got him thinking. And then it was actually the events of September 11th that got him started. So he signed the paperwork to start this business in September of 2001 because the firefighters at 9/11, they didn't know which staircases were open, which ones they couldn't go down. They didn't have all the information that they needed at their fingertips. So that's what got Mike started. And our very first customer was a school. So we've always been very passionate about helping schools. The issue that we find is funding in schools. So we actually partnered with an organization called Safe and Sound Schools, which is run by a woman named Michelle Gay, who lost her daughter at Sandy Hook. And she asked us, I know you guys have the solutions to help. Is there any way that what can you do to help schools? How can we get them additional funding as well as help keep them safe? So that's why Mike started Status Solutions Network right in the middle of the pandemic. So really bad timing, but we started it a couple of years ago, and it's great. So what we do essentially is we find schools that need our help, and we give them access to kind of a free version of our situational awareness platform at no cost to them. So it automatically gives teachers access to quick buttons And again, it can be the mundane to the extreme. So it can be, hey, Johnny forgot his lunch, press the lunch button. Or maybe it's a kid has an allergy, they press the allergy button and all the correct people are automatically notified. So right now we've learned that, the way that schools are communicating is pretty outdated. I mean, it's, hey, Johnny, can you run to the front desk and tell Mrs. Morris that we need help? They've got to have ways that they can communicate quickly when there's situations that take place. So we give them access to those tools at no cost. And then we find somebody in the community to run the Status Solutions Network program. So this is a digital marketing business. So what they do is they go out and sell memberships to local businesses in that community, and that money goes back to the local school. And those businesses, for their membership, get placed into a network directory. So it's kind of like joining your chamber. You get listed on the chamber website. So they get listed on the Status Solutions Network website as a business that cares about their community, cares about the safety of their students. And we don't tell the school what to do with that money. So if they want to expand and, from a safety perspective with us, great. If they want to give teachers bonuses, great. If they want to, whatever they want to do with that money, they can spend it on whatever their needs are. Because we know, as you probably know, schools have a ton of funding challenges and they have needs that need to be met, maybe even before safety. So they can spend that money. So it's a win-win-win across the board. We're getting local exposure for those businesses. The school is able to stay safe, and they get additional funding on top of that. And we're providing a job within that community for that franchisee that's out selling the memberships. So we really harp on local, and I'll talk about this in a bit, but we see this trend back to getting into helping your local community, caring about where you're spending your dollars. And so it's a program really designed to help keep teachers and students safe in the classroom, and really just throw teachers a bone right now. We're asking more of them and we're paying them less. And it's, this is just a way to really help strengthen our schools, because as most people know, our communities are only as strong as our schools. So that is the program. I'm really excited about it. It's new. So we are in the process right now of finding people throughout the country that can run this program. So we're looking for franchisees in any community. We have a few throughout the country. We're so excited about getting them started. But we're really in that kind of spread the word portion of this business. And we're excited to get going.
That's great. Now, I know similar to Ingage, you guys are pretty industry agnostic. You can help folks across the board with different needs, very custom needs. Can you explain your sales and marketing approach to ensure that your message is resonating with all of these different markets? And then as a next step, how does Status Solutions Network incorporate those same industries? It really sounds like it's so cross-functional. You're working across all different channels, all different markets. That's got to be a lot to figure out.
Yeah. So it's not easy. I can say I'm on the sales side. And I can tell you our marketing team has their work cut out for them, because a lot of people are waiting for you to tell them what you're selling them. Like, hey, what is, they're like, what is the product? And we're not selling a product. We truly are selling an outcome, because we can do so much for so many different types of businesses. It is hard to come up with marketing materials that will work for everyone. And it's hard to explain. That's why we do podcasts like this to try to help educate people on the types of outcomes that we can drive. And we really do that by giving examples from what our current customers are doing. And we love when they bring new ideas to the table that we can, so we can create even more outcomes that might be able to help other industries. So, but the way we kind of like to describe it is a room is a room is a room, right? So, whether it's a jail cell or it's a library or, it's an airplane cockpit, we don't care. So as long as you have people and you have stuff that we can help protect, we can likely help. And how we do that is really going to depend on that discovery process that we do and talking to each individual business. And they meet with our engineers and we talk through, what outcomes are you trying to drive? What are you trying to protect? What do you need to have integrated here? What information do you need? And so that discovery process is really how we determine how we can help that business. But everyone knows a teacher, everyone knows a student. There is a way that we can help in any industry. So we're really just trying to get involved in any way that we can with any organization.
So, full disclosure here, I have known the Status Solutions crew for almost 10 years at this point. I have known you guys since I worked at a previous company. You've been great partners to us, but I have had the privilege of watching you really expand solutions that you offer and get even more creative and more enmeshed in communities and be able to really build those experiences and outcomes for your customers. I'm really curious about how you handle all of that innovation and moreover, how your innovation program works as a company that's constantly innovating.
Yeah. So great question, because, we used to kind of charge a la carte for all of these things. And maybe back when you were working with us, it was this way where it's like, okay, you need, these licenses, or you need these solutions, or you need this. So we had these very complicated contracts that we were building out for each individual customer. And we felt like we were kind of holding them back a little bit, because if they wanted to use our new solutions and, the things that we're developing constantly, they had to come back to us, and we had to kind of add it to the contract and charge additional for that. And we just got to the point where we're like, look, we're not building these solutions for people not to use them, or for people to feel like, oh, I got to pay extra to use that. So what we did was we came up with an innovation agreement or innovation program. And so what you do is you just pay an annual fee, and you get access to all of our technology, all of our solutions, all of our software, which is really great because, if you need a little bit of this, a little bit of that, a little bit of the other, we can create a customized model for you that will work. And you're just paying, everyone's paying a little so that they can get access to all of our solutions. And you never feel like you're held back by additional costs or anything. So that's the model. We want people to be innovating. We want people to be moving forward. And this is a partnership. So, as we're developing things, we want all of our customers to have access to it immediately. Use it, go somehow drive better outcomes. And so that's why we came up with the innovation program. And it's so much better than how we were doing things before. It just makes it so much easier to do business with our customers.
Yeah. And I imagine not only for the customers, but from an internal perspective, it probably makes your team's lives so much easier, because your customer success folks, anybody who's involved in retention or helping out with support, like, they're not worried about having to go back and nickel and dime a customer. It's about creating, again, that holistic experience for them, that outcome. I feel like it's just got to be a lot simpler for you all.
Yeah, absolutely. It is.
So I have a famous last question here on our podcast. I ask everybody who comes on this question, and we always get really interesting answers. So as we look ahead, and at this point, we're going to be looking into 2024. We're looking at, this new year, new landscape. What's an emerging trend or shift that you think sales leaders really need to be conscious of at this point?
I would say local. So, during the pandemic, I think everyone got really convenience focused. Amazon, fast fashion, just I want what I want, and I just want it delivered to my door, and I don't care who this company is or how it got here. I just need it now. And I think as we're kind of moving into this post-pandemic world, I think people really are caring again about who they're doing business with. So I kind of touched on this earlier, but the trend that we're seeing is that people want to do business with their local businesses. Obviously, there's so many benefits to doing business with, locally. You're driving more jobs to your community. You're they're going to care more and about your local schools, about your local community. So it's economically more viable. And I think we're getting away from what we call kind of the sharkdom of the pandemic, where, sharks became really cool, where it was, whether it was Shark Tank or Shark Week or just Sharky type people, these billionaires that pay themselves 300 times what they're paying their employees, So I think what we're seeing is that people care about where they're doing business again, and that trend is just going to continue as we go on. So that's definitely a trend that people should be aware of and be thinking about.
Great. Well, Rachel, thank you so much for joining us today. It was lovely to have you here. And like I said, I've been acquainted with Status Solutions for a really long time. So I was so happy that we were able to get you on and get your message out to our wider base.
Well, thank you so much, Pam. It was great speaking with you and all of the ways that we've been somehow, put together in the past. And it's really cool to kind of see both of our businesses transition. I'm a huge Ingage fan. I was telling you before this podcast, I use it all the time. So I'm going to put my little message in there. If you're not using Ingage, get it, because it's fantastic. I use it literally every day. So, but thank you so much for having me. It was great. You guys have been a great partner, and we're so excited to continue with you guys.
Thanks for listening to the Ingaged podcast. Be sure to visit engage.io for more information on how to create, share, and measure your way to success. If you like the Engaged podcast, we'd love for you to subscribe, rate, and review us on Spotify or Amazon Music. Until next time.